All right, good morning, everyone. We're a couple minutes tardy. That's my fault. I apologize. So I'm going to call us to order and please ask if everyone would, excuse me, today is Tuesday, July the 16th. We're going to convene the monthly meeting of our Economic Opportunity Advisory Council, and I would ask for everyone to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Let's just please take a moment and remember the brave men and women here locally in our law enforcement community and first responders, and also our great United States military that serves us here and abroad. Okay, thanks. First order of business is approval of the meeting minutes from June the 18th, 2019. Entertain a motion on that. Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. None opposed. That motion carries unanimously. So we're moving fast, Miss Robin. Okay, that's fine. We have lots of people listening in.
Oh, good morning. Robin King, President and CEO of CareerSource Flagler Volusia. Those are last night's minutes, so I don't need those. Congratulations last night. That was a tremendous show of support in this community that came, and I just have to say that speaks volumes of your staff, of Helga and Katrina and Lily, that they maintain continuous relationships with all of us. This isn't just, oh my gosh, we have a prospect, I need you to come, which is what you see in a lot of communities. This is an ongoing, thank you, an ongoing conversation that we have on a regular basis. In fact, I was just telling Jim I was here last night, I'm here today. Tomorrow I'll be back to the monthly meeting that Helga hosts of the partners so that we're continually sharing what we're doing, what we're working on, and figuring out where those cross-linkages need to be happening in any given time. So Katrina has me up and running. Thank you very much. So a reminder of our overarching goal really is the prosperity of all workers and all businesses. You know, last night what I presented was through the lens of the worker, but the healthier the businesses are, the better the jobs are that the job seekers can get as well. So there's a lot of things that we do for businesses. Even on the backside, if a layoff happens, we want to be part of that as well so we can help that workforce transition. Because sometimes when businesses get better, they contract, you know, with automation and other things that are happening. So we just want to be partners with businesses as well as our workforce. I did mention again this a bit last night and just wanted to give you an update because United Way did come out with a new study or an updated study. And one of the things that you'll notice on this one, so the poverty level has pretty much maintained since 2014 at 10%. The second blue is that's the ALICE group, so ALICE being asset limited, income constraint, employed, which is the acronym that United Way uses for working poor. And these are the individuals that are working, they're just not earning the amount in the community that is required to be at self-sufficiency, where they have the luxury of actually saving and having discretionary income. So that reduced, and you did in Flagler County, these are just specific for Flagler, so 2% moved into that self-sufficiency, up to over $57,000 for a family of four. So that speaks volumes. And it's moving in the right direction. We just need to continue to do that. And that's also that ALICE group, in addition to the poverty group, is one that we focus on. That's who I would refer to as underemployed from time to time. They're not working at their full potential. The wages will come if we get them to their full potential. And so we just want to be working with them more. that's where the trend is going. Now, the trend in poverty hasn't changed much. And then also when I took a look at the cost of living here and how much more it's increasing compared to the federal. So I'm hopeful for it. I mean, when these numbers came out just, it was around the Super Bowl. So whatever that was. It's amazing how you correlate things. But so February, and where Flagler got better, Volusia did not. Actually went the other direction. So it just depends on weather conditions and what businesses you've brought in and a variety of things. But to that, so if we take a look at the number of people we serve, if I go back to 2015, again in Flagler County, we were over 4,500 that we served, and last year we served around 2,900. It's down 17% just from last year. One of the things I would like to increase that number, I've talked about this a bit before, the labor force participation rate has not moved. So we still have almost the majority of those who could be working actually are working. And again, that's ages 16 to 64 that are not looking for work. They're not working, at least on the books. And there's a wide description of who those individuals are. They're caretakers of maybe their parents or someone with a disability in their home. They're single moms. Maybe some early retirees in Flagler County, but again, it only goes to the age of 64, and I don't know how many retirees you have under that age. So there's a wide group of people, and so we've been working, talking, having conversations with the Early Learning Coalition and the health departments and United Way to really see where can we start to identify them, because I think that could be part of the solution to the unemployment rate being as low as it is, and we're looking for employees. How do we engage those individuals who are disengaged or had maybe never engaged before? The number of job postings also went down this last year. Had a decrease there about 25% for a total of 539 job postings. I don't think so. I think I'll say this publicly, my business services rep in Flagler County, Marilyn Edwards, is fabulous. The electronic program that we have is not user-friendly. And the state actually is just starting its ITN, and in 2 years we will have a new system. So that's part of it. I think businesses are looking in other places as well. This is just what got posted in Employ Florida. No, this is just Flagler.
Robin,
Yes.
when you say that the job postings went down, everywhere I go, people say they can't find qualified employees and that everyone's looking for good employees. It seems that's what gets said.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I hear it more in construction. But does that just mean they're not availing themselves of your...
Quite possibly, yes. And that's a twofold when they say they can't find qualified employees. One is that foundational skills. That's a biggie. When we did the skills gap survey a couple years ago, that came out in the top 10 skills that were, 9 of them were foundational skills. And by foundational, I mean what has traditionally been called soft skills. But they are what the foundation is. It's that critical thinking. Can you communicate? Can you play well with others kind of thing? And then the other is the seasoned employee. It takes a lot to take someone who comes right out of high school and right out of college and then train them. They want someone who's got some experience. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our solution around that in just a moment. So a couple of things that we've been working on in Flagler. So last year when I saw you, I told you we were going to be doing Intern for a Day, and we did. This is what we did. It was a lot of fun. So we worked with the Flagler County Foundation, Education Foundation. And the way we set it up is the students would meet at our place, so they would understand who Career Source Flagler Volusia was, have some idea, and maybe if they share that with their parents or somebody else, or in the future they might come and use our services. So it started there, and then they went to one of these businesses. These were the businesses that participated in the last year, and then it concluded with a lunch at Flagler Tech. that we provided. So it showed them again, so if you got interested in this, this is where you can get the education afterwards. Joe Rizzo was one of the van drivers for that, and he said that they went to Coastal Cloud, for example, and the conversation coming back was, oh my gosh, that not realizing what computer science really could lead to. And if you're familiar with Salesforce and all of its capabilities, they've really got the awareness that we're looking for in all occupations. That's one of the biggest things that we're noticing is that, or not noticing, but have identified as an issue is we have a perception of what an occupation is based on what we see. So when you think construction, the majority of people think of whatever it is they see when they drive by something going up. They don't think of all the work and effort that goes into the planning of that, from the soil testing to the architect and all that other stuff, to all the things that happen behind the scenes, to all the things that happen afterwards. And that's what the intent of these kinds of initiatives are, is to just look at the depth and the width of some of these occupations and the career pathways within those industries. So these were the companies that participated. All these companies said, yes, they want to do it again. Would love to have more on here. As I'm looking, I don't see Advent Health. So we need to work on that one. Though I know you work very closely with the school already. So it was a fun thing for everyone involved.
Robin, the Road to Success program that we run out of Carver, they have internships, 1 and 2 and 3 day internships for some of their kids. Do y'all coordinate that at all?
So their internships actually, the Road to Success program that Barbara was referring to is a joint effort between Flagler County Schools, us, and the Carver Center, which is what I'm always going to remember it as because that was how I got to know them. These are high school dropouts, and they have, I think in the time we've done this, Brian has now had 200 GEDs, and they walk during graduation. With that program, we actually do a paid work experience. So we're always looking for companies, and we actually do the paying for the work experience piece. I'm not as familiar with the internships and the exposure part, but I can definitely find out from Brian what other his needs are. I know that he's actually bringing some of his newest graduates to our center because they're over at the center, so they don't necessarily know what services we have to offer. One of the things that we want to be better at is transitioning those youth into our adult services for training purposes. That the intent of this is not just get your GED and get, whatever first entry level job and now you're on your own. We want to be able to help them continue on with that. And so we're getting better at that transition bridging.
I just didn't know about other employees that could help you with this. Like I gave one of the students from there a ride one day over to the marine repair shop on Highway 100 right outside of the city of Flagler Beach, and they were doing an internship for one of the students.
Oh, nice.
So there might be some other employers there was all.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's the number one thing that we've identified as what all of us who are involved in creating talent need is more business engagement. We want to be creating solutions with businesses, not for them. And that's an example of where we can have job shadowing, internship, paid work experience, just, again, helping us show off the types of opportunities that are available in the community.
Robin,
Yes, sir.
in the high schools here, they do the classrooms for careers, and they're just starting to graduate some of those folks that are going right into jobs. We're finally pushing it down far enough and going into the elementary schools too. So I'm hoping that the problem with not having enough skills will slowly but surely remove itself. They got a lot of construction kids coming out. They got firemen coming out now, and fire ladies.
So Flagler County started at the elementary and moved it up, and so it was a longer process. But now that it's in place, it's solid. That every other school district that I'm aware of is figuring out how to get it down to the middle school. It's like, and what I'm curious to see what happens is these young ones who have been. This is now how they expect to be taught. how they're going to do in post-secondary education and what changes they will start to make at that level as well. So the big thing we've been working on is the Alliance 4. And Alliance 4 is something that came out of our industry sector's focus, that we wanted to, our sectors for the most part are aligned with like what you all have, but we also have retail and hospitality, construction, manufacturing, business professional, and healthcare are the 6 sectors that my board has selected to focus on. There was a skill gap survey done by the state of Florida almost 2 years ago now. And what we did is we took that out and we had some focus groups about a year ago. Barbara actually facilitated the one we did for construction. Almost a year ago this month, July. And out of those, we heard some great conversation from the businesses on their needs, but they were sharing their own best practices and identifying what those needs were. So what we went back and did is we brought the partners to the table as well. So we have education, that's post-secondary as well as secondary, economic development, us, and then we held and the 4 then being the business. So that's the 4 of the Alliance. We held our second event then, February 22nd, and that was a tremendous success. Because again, it was each one of those sectors had their individual meetings. I will never do that in the same room again because that was just too much. But it was, each one of them were facilitated by a business person, and they started just sharing their solutions on what they've come up with, whether it's their own internal career planning or how they do the recruiting or they do any of those kinds of things. And we did our wrap-up sessions after that. And again, it's the partners that doing that with the facilitator. And the biggest thing that everyone said was that we needed were more businesses at the table. And so that's our big thing. So our next one, mark your calendar, is September 6th. Starts at 7:30 a.m. That's when breakfast is served. And the meeting will be actually from 8 to 9:30. Daytona State College has stepped up as a true partner does. And we will hold our future sessions at the new student center that's in Daytona Beach. And what's nice about that is this new student center has a ballroom that will be able to do the kickoff breakfast, and then we'll have 6 different rooms that each industry sector would go into, have their conversation for not quite 90 minutes, and then come back. We'll do a wrap-up and leave. So each one of the sectors has a different agenda that we're going to be looking at based on the solutions that they're working on today. For example, manufacturing. Can I click on these? You have to click on it. So actually, the landing page, go to the first one, thanks. So one of the things that came out of those sessions is the businesses wanted some type of a place to go where they could get a lot of the information. Because the biggest aha moments around the tables was what's coming out of our K through 12. They did not know about the industry sectors or the certifications that were happening and what the level of that is. So we've created these, and these are still in draft form. So if you want to just kind of scroll down, this is actually pictures from the event. If you stop that one, go back up a little. There you go. So the picture you see behind there, that's actually the construction. Thomas Stoffhocker is a contractor up here in Flagler, and so he's our facilitator for the construction one. And, okay, so scroll down a little bit more. One of those alliances is the partnership between business, workforce development, economic development, and education to convene conversations around the sectors I've talked about. And it's really about talent recruitment, talent development, and talent retention, and sharing those best practices around that. So the partners that we've got listed across there, the business, workforce development, economic development, and education. So that's and see, we've got Brian right there. That's our RTS program right there. We needed to be neutral. Having our own program worked. So this is going to be the main landing page that we're going to send everybody to. Scroll down just a little bit more, Katrina. Okay, so watch this video. Let's see what, I should have practiced this a little bit better. I think these were the businesses that were interviewed directly after the event. in February. Okay, so that was one of the videos. If we go back then. So then we made landing pages for each one of the individual sectors. And the one I have for you to view today is, if we go to that other link. Is for manufacturing. So last time, because we did have limited space, we weren't really sure how many individuals would be able to hold in there, so it was by invitation only. This time, we will have links to these web pages that we will be sending out to all the chambers, Flagler Home Builders Association. I've already talked to Anna Maria about getting this out to all of you, and just, again, it's more businesses that we want at the table to share the ideas, to take a look at some of the prototypes that we've come up with. Manufacturing, for example. Would you scroll down just a little bit? I think we were going to put something on here about the Kentucky FAME model has been implemented in 11 states. There's a short video here that describes that a bit. So we're a group of manufacturers that got together a couple months ago now, including some from Flagler County, who have decided that they are going to create a chapter for a Florida FAME chapter.
Right skills, jobs of the future. Quite frankly, we needed them yesterday.
This is Toyota.
Kentucky FAME is a great partnership for Kentucky. It brings together manufacturers, the education, remote manufacturing, and the jobs and careers that are there.
What makes Kentucky FAME a little different partnership is it's led by the manufacturers. If it does what we believe it'll do, number one, it will sustain our present manufacturing base where they're no longer having to compete with each other. But also, it'll help bring new industry in because they'll look at Kentucky and say, hey, they've got it together, they're investing, they're training, they're doing things manufacturing needs in the workforce.
We are promoting ourselves as a major place for manufacturing. And to be able to do that, you have to have a trained workforce. Kentucky FAME shows manufacturers that may want to relocate here or manufacturers who want to expand here that we can provide that trained workforce for them and have them working from day one. The benefit for students is that they can go to class 2 days a week and then go to work 3 days a week and apply what they're learning.
Kentucky FAME has given me the opportunity to go to school, have a career.
Coming out of high school and starting the AMT program, I never realized 2 years later I would have a full-time job at Toyota. Having a career ahead of me that's so bright.
This career path I've taken through Kentucky FAME has enabled me to have the confidence I need to be able to have a job after I get out of college. Right now, I'm on the track of being debt-free coming out of college, which not many college students get to say.
That's one of the good things too about the degree we have. It's multi-skilled. It
involved. End result is we produce so many more skilled workers across the state.
As a small business owner that provides a solution, hire, cost-efficient employees are being trained the way I need them to be trained.
That's what you see on this campus, is to build that toolbox full of skill sets that's going to meet the need of a broad-based group of manufacturers.
Manufacturing has changed. How we manufacture, how we do it's no longer dark, dangerous, and dirty. And so it takes certain technical skills, but it also takes a lot of soft skills, ability to communicate, to work in teams. It is a career now. You know, it's not just a job.
Most of the guys that are the great maintenance guys in my work are the guys that came through this program. It's given me a great opportunity to start a career.
Graduates from the Kentucky Fame program are excited about their future. They know that they're going to have a strong future where they're making great income, being able to support their family.
Partnership, there is power. This is power.
What is so great about Kentucky Fame are the partnerships that are involved. With the leadership of the Kentucky Association of Manufacturing, the state legislature, our manufacturers across the state, and ACTCS.
Thank you, Katrina. So this is a solution that is driven by business. We are only in a supportive role in helping get the word out, and we will help when we were helping with connections to the schools, because this creates an awareness program that will start like in 4th grade, you know, and around STEM education. Was there anything else on that particular page? Brett Schmitz, who is the president of Hudson Technologies, is really the one who is spearheading this. There's a video of him on, I don't know if he was on that manufacturing page or not. So, it's a much shorter video. We didn't know until we went out to do this video at Hudson Technologies that everyone thinks that manufacturing needs more women and more diversity. He has 80% women working at his tool and die place. This acts like my phone does when I'm in this room. Really slow.
Robin, are the large manufacturers talking about putting back in apprenticeship programs?
So I got to see the gentleman who goes around the country, teaching the FAME model. By the way, this is not where we pay for a chapter membership or anything. This is businesses sharing it with other businesses. And so I said, this looks like apprenticeship, it smells like apprenticeship, it walks like apprenticeship. I said, you don't call it apprenticeship. He goes, never. So the reason being is because there's still quite a bias and a stigma that goes along with that too many businesses assume that they won't have the control that they want, and a lot of the potential students shy away from it as well. So the way it would be set up is the chapter will never be an apprenticeship, but individual companies could be. Hudson Technology is the only company that I'm aware of that sponsors their own apprenticeship program.
One of the I keep hearing is retention. When they put in apprenticeships and they train those folks,
They
almost
stay.
every one of them will stay.
So we've seen it. B. Braun actually is they're going to create apprenticeships in the 3 locations they have, Pennsylvania, Florida, and California. Just met with them a couple months ago. And it's going to be a while before that will be implemented, because most of the apprenticeship programs that are out there, they want to start when they're juniors in high school. And that's going to take some doing, to get them on sites and whatnot. Okay, go ahead and start.
A lot of precision metal forming for a multitude of industries, automotive and aerospace. CareerSource does a great job aligning with businesses in the area
to make sure that they are preparing candidates to add value to.
So Barbara, going back to what you were asking, I'm also looking for businesses who will participate in videos like this, whether that's around occupational awareness or just highlighting their industry in some fashion. You know, there's lots of opportunities that businesses can participate in solving some issues.
Probably just need to skip that one.
So going back to your question, Joe, when coming to apprenticeships, it is a big push coming down from Tallahassee and now DC as well. Though what's coming out of administration in DC is more about independent apprenticeships that really don't have a registration. They're not registered apprenticeships. So one of the things that we will be much better at in the next few months is helping guide any business who is interested in doing that, whether they want to do their own sponsor, whether you bring together. It doesn't just have to be the large ones. And that's one of the things like the FAME model, that each business who wants to participate just says this is how many people I'm going to need over the course of the next year. That might be 1, it might be 5, it might be 10, it might be 2. You know, so it allows for smaller companies to also participate. It's not just about, and apprenticeship programs, even with Hudson, because we've been working with them on their apprenticeship program, rarely has more than 3 or 4 apprentices at any given time. It's the pipeline that they're also creating on the pre-apprentices, where they're using the existing training that's already available through Daytona State College. So there's different ways of customizing it. We just need to, we, as in CareerSource, wants to figure out how to be better to help a business navigate how to get that through the Department of Education, which is very unique in Florida. We don't have a Department of Labor, so it goes to the Department of Education. And showing them that it is a way to build talent, to retain talent, to let the young ones know it's a way that they can get some fantastic education and be debt-free when it's done, and, you know, earn and learn. So there's lots of learn and earn opportunities. And so that's what we've been kind of up to. Yes.
I'm sorry, I think your mic is muted. We're not hearing you.
So Amazon's coming to Daytona with a distribution center and hundreds of jobs. Last week, Amazon also announced that it was going to invest $700 million in upskilling, training, retraining its workforce so that they have the workforce of tomorrow that'll, you know, be, it sounded pretty much tech skilled, but I'm thinking.
Not always. So I mean.
Well, that's what they're saying. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. My point is there may be an opportunity to, and maybe not, it may be completely Amazon centric, but large workforce, large training budget, sounds a lot like what, you know, you're looking at doing, and they might be one of those partners you want to look at.
I'm excited for them. So a couple of years ago, I got to hear their, I'm not going to remember his title, but it was Global Talent Development something. So the training that he was talking about that they invest in is for their blue-collar workers only, and it's for anyone who's been there for a year or more, that they will work with an entity like us to find out what's in demand in the area, and they will provide the training for whatever's in demand in the area, not related to Amazon. That's why I was saying it was not quite just all technical.
Even better.
So it is, and it's their way of figuring out how to retain them, because this is a high turnover group, and it's meant. And actually, they in some other places anyway. I don't think they are able to do it in all of them. They do the training on site, where people have to walk through the training so they visually see it, and because sometimes you can offer things to your employees, but if they're not seeing it on a consistent basis, they forget. So they have a really great model, and I was excited. You know, the thing is it's we've not talked with them, so I've only gotten what I've read and have heard through the grapevine. A number of those employees really won't be employees; they're going to be contractors. That if because they're a distribution center, I don't think they have a fleet that they will be contracting with anybody who has a van or a truck or whatnot, and I don't know what that process is. So I don't think they would qualify because they're not employees. So it would be the ones who are probably working in the warehouse that would have that opportunity.
Well, anyway, just
And it's, and this is why we want to bring a variety of businesses together around the table to share these kinds of solutions that they're creating. Nike was at the retail, and they don't call it career pathways, they call it a runway. That's the way that they're attracting the next generation. It was interesting to listen to businesses realize that their industry had a perception issue and what they needed to do around that, or what their brand might be. Walgreens, for example, is like, one, they know there's an issue around attracting people to retail, and two, Walgreens isn't cool, so it doesn't attract anybody under the age of 30. So they were sharing ideas of how to get around some of those and where they find their talent, and then, again, how they retain them. And internal training is definitely rising to the top, which is one of the reasons we continue to push that. That's one of our main programs, is to work with a business in training their employees. It can be one employee, it can be all the employees, it can be internal, it can be external. There's a wide variety, but whatever that business needs, so that business can be healthier, and keeping the skills of their workforce current, because that was one of the things that we saw during the height of the recession. Those who were being laid off, no one had been investing in their talent growth, whether them personally or their company. And so they couldn't turn around and find another job. They didn't have the current marketable skills. So, any other questions?
Any other questions for Robin or comments? All right.
As always, thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, Katrina, are you providing the executive director report?
I am. Good morning. Helga apologizes. She's with a prospect this morning, which is important that she be there. So first, want to start off by saying congratulations to the council. Last night we had a big meeting in front of the Board of County Commissioners. Helga did a presentation about Project Columbus. Project Columbus is a manufacturing project that is bringing 50 jobs. Those are 50 initial jobs with an average pay rate of $50,000. The building that they're building is going to be 255,000 square feet. It would be in the south end of town along US 1. There's not a lot of industrial development down there, so it should be a good catalyst for development down there as well. The board approved our growth package yesterday to go ahead and encourage Columbus to come here to Flagler County. We're very excited. The owner of that business is very vested in this community already. He is well familiar with Flagler County and wants to be here. So, and we want him here. And last night's meeting showed exactly how much we want them here. And I would like to thank every single one of you who came out and spoke on behalf of Project Columbus, to include some of our business leaders in the community. We got a lot of support from the Chamber, SCORE, Flagler Schools. So it was really positive last night. So kumbaya. Other projects that we're working on are, we got 2 new ones just last week. One was called Agispec. It's logistics, and that came through the state. We also received one called Project Stream, which is manufacturing. So we are sending in a proposal for Agispec, and Stream we've already sent in potential properties for that. We got a new project yesterday brought to us by Commissioner Mullins. That one is manufacturing, so we're trying to find some place for them to have a new home here in Flagler County. It's not very large, but it is in our targeted industries. We are continuing work with Project RN. We are in communication with them, and we've had follow-up meetings with the Advent team. Project POL and Project Drop It, and Drop It is very closely related with Columbus. Other than that, we are so busy. I mean, we have projects coming at us left and right, and it is a really good place to be right now, to just be overwhelmed with projects that, you know, your day-to-day work has to take a back seat. So that is very exciting. Now we just have to close on a few of them. Another thing that we are continuing to work on, I don't know if the council remembers, but we had submitted to the state for the Florida Jobs Growth Grant for infrastructure and jobs for the Central Commerce Parkway that would link US 1 to 100 through Bunnell. We are still trying to find ways to make that project happen. There is a bunch of industrial landlocked land in there that we need access to. Coming up with the money is where we're at right now. I mean, the whole project has been engineered, the right-of-way donated. It's so now what we need is we just need money for lights, asphalt, and getting it all constructed. I have no other items to report on unless anyone has any questions for me. No questions? That's my fave. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Katrina. Council comments? Dr. Jimenez, we'll start down there. Anything?
One, there was a mention, Robin, I think, made it about the importance of the all the touch points that Helga and her department has into our community, and I'd just add one that reaches most, many, maybe most of the homes in the hammock, and you know, this is you know, just informational, but there's a quarterly publication that comes to most of our homes, and Helga and her staff each quarter write a very interesting, pithy, and relevant piece that goes into that publication. So just another touch point, and it's read. It's read.
So the name of that publication is Sun and Surf. Helga writes, it is Helga who writes the article for every quarterly edition. Each of those articles explains and educates the community on what economic development really is and what we do. It talks about some of the projects, and it links economic development to the community. If you have not read any of those articles, I would encourage you to do so. Share them with your friends. They're very enlightening, and she is a really fun writer, too. So they're enjoyable to read, and they're quick and easy, but they're full of information. Thank you, Mr. Gill, for mentioning that.
Several of us on the council have been involved with this economic development, developing this from the very beginning, from the very first meetings with the city and the county. It's good to see how professional and how efficient it's become, how it's changed the minds of the people in the city of Palm Coast and Flagler County, which was huge because they weren't all for it for a long time. So kudos to Helga and her team. They're doing a great job.
I just wanted to say it was gratifying, sort of follow on the same theme, to see the business leaders and schools and people come to the support of that project, because early on there was some bad headlines and people jumped to conclusions and all that sort of thing. But about the time that Mike was done, speaking, it was clear that the deal was sealed. But to have 7 or 8 more people come up, that was fine. I think it was good because it really sends a message out if prospective companies looking at the proceedings. It was good to see what happened last night, notwithstanding some abhorrent behavior, but that was limited.
Well, I liked Mike's comments about not talking yourself out of a sale because it was already done. But that was good. Just one other thing I'd like to add is the St. Johns County and Putnam County is actually led by Commissioner Harvey in Putnam County, is putting together a little, I'm not sure what it is yet. I guess I'm going to find out at the end of the month. But basically they're looking at hemp as a crop. and they're trying to bring together all the different growers and producers in the area, the Tri-County area, to educate them on, I guess, this the crop and what the potential is. From what I can gather so far, the yield on an acre of hemp is substantially higher than some of the existing crops that we have. And I don't, there's a lot of politics to it and a lot of questions on both sides, but I think the initial attempt here is just to try to get the information out with respect to the new law that the governor signed and educate our landowners and our producers, what the story is. So, if you like, I can provide. There's going to be a meeting at the end of the month over in Hastings, and I can email all the details out to anyone to the council if you're interested in learning more about it. Yes.
I think that the extension agent, when she made a presentation here the last month,
Yes.
happening and what was going on and some of the issues associated with it, such as site security. And
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's all part of it. They're just trying to create the dialogue so that the growers understand that. And I'm not sure where it's going, but I said that I would at least publicize it for our county to let everybody know about it. So
sure would hate to see us lose production of some nice greens and potatoes and things in exchange for hemp. But
yeah, exactly.
One of the things that people don't always understand is that the hemp that they're talking about is a non-THC, non-euphoric product, and it has multiple uses. It can be used for clothing, but it can also be an alternative feed for cattle as well, which is fantastic. Security on hemp, it doesn't offer anything on the black market, really. But we'd learn more about it. And Commissioner O'Brien, if you want to send me the information, I can go ahead and send it out to everybody.
Yeah, that's all I'm just saying. I would just, for anyone that would like to possibly learn about it, I'll get that to you today, actually, because we need to get that out for the end of the month. So, all right. Open up to public comment. I don't see that we have a whole lot of audience here, so we'll I guess, finish that section of our agenda and just announce that our next meeting will be on August the 20th, right here in the chambers. And if there's nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. All right, we're adjourned. Thanks.